on the agenda, and when one person is through, another will come up. God bless you. And you'll have 3 minutes, and Liz, with the red flag here, will give you your 30-second warning as to the fact that you need to pull it to a close. And we have 2 additions. Mark Mario is going to sing a song after Deb Adams' presentation. So if you're Wendy Ross, you probably need to know that. And then at the very end, Judy Joy has a short reading. So.
Actually, you can have both places.
Last night I had the strangest dream I ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room all filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they never fight again. And when the paper was all signed and a million copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads, and grateful prayers were made. And the people in the streets below were dancing round and round, while guns and swords and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war.
Let us very briefly pray. Gracious God, guide us as we try to work together to make this dream come true.
Most of us here probably recognize that song. If you didn't.
Wow. They must be young.
I'm really privileged to be part of this group. This is one of my favorite annual meetings around New England. We cover as many as we can. And this event is one of my favorite events of the annual meeting. It's great to be part of you folks, to hang out with you folks. About a month and a half ago, I was in Serbia and the Republic of Georgia visiting some of the programming that we do there. We were driving in streets through Belgrade where we have an office, police hat. And we drove past buildings that remained unrepaired after NATO strikes in the 1990s, bombed buildings that were bombed by U.S. cruise missiles and remained destroyed. Belgrade has a large Roma population and a large poor population, as most large cities do. And Church World Service is working with Roma and vulnerable communities in Belgrade and in Serbia in 2 major areas. One is child education. We believe that educating children, young children, youth, is actually it's an act that has to do with human rights. It's a subversive act, really. But we are working with staff on the ground and people who live there to provide education for children and other, as we call it, durable solutions for vulnerable populations. In Smederevo, which is a city of about 110,000, an hour's drive from Belgrade or so, we've partnered with the Red Cross. This is how we work everywhere. We work with local partners on the ground. to expand what was a soup kitchen operation that they had that fed people 6 days a week, 1 meal a day. The program now feeds about twice as many people 7 days a week, 2 meals. And the really exciting thing about this program is Vermont with the Red Cross is that they are now growing most of the food that they provide for people. Their gardens, greenhouses, livestock. So in Georgia, Churchill Service won an international award with our partner there, Rural Community Development Agency, for climate work in developing replicatable solar energy structures and alternative energy. This is work that we do together, people, so that we all accomplish together through your donations, your participation, your partnership. So I want to thank you. Every year I want to thank you. These are things that we accomplish together. Church Service really is all of us together. So if you walk the prop under lot, or do blankets, or gifts, or alternative gift pairs, whatever you do, we are accomplishing all of these things together. Thanks very much.
I should have said that Teresa, who always leads this, is a pain in the butt.
Very exciting. Part of the world.
Hi, I'm Susanna Griffin, and I'm wearing a couple of hats, maybe 3 hats today. I again want to invite you to the Disaster Ministries table where there are lots of resources. We voted last year to be a conference and churches prepared and preparing for disaster. So I hope that you'll pick up some of the materials that will help you do that. I have with me the sign-up sheet for the missionary visit on August 8th through 16th. We have a missionary from Palestine who's coming to visit us, and we'd love to have churches host her for events. She's only here over one Sunday, and that is taken, but I have found it's nice to have children meet with missionaries. It's a really fun afternoon for them to get a sense of our work in the world, but you might arrange it at a lunchtime or a dinner time meeting. But my main goal here is to introduce you to our work with the mission that Lisa Sparrow presented last year in Kenya. She has had a relationship with a youth group of the Green Belt movement in Kaiducha, Kenya for a long, long time. And we decided to partner in with them. We have a very young church school. We've been looking for a mission focus. And so there are AIDS orphans in this town, 140 of them. They're cared for in family systems by guardians. And they are allowed, schooling is free, but uniforms cost. So our children have been raising money for uniforms, and as they dress them, as they make the money, they collect money themselves. They do chores at home. They do lemonade stands. One of them shovels the steps for the church and gets paid and donated. They've gotten a little church school, and they've raised about $300 so far. They've invited the church to bring their redeemable bottles, and we've set up a site at the Redemption Center so people can drop off their bottles there. And so it's just been a very exciting, lively growth for us, and you can do this too. The other thing they did was raise money for trees. We had a Earth Day celebration, and they made cookies and sold them for trees, and they raised $101 for trees. And you will be happy to know, if you haven't yet heard, that the UCC for this site in Kenya is going to plant 9,000 trees, which is amazing. Planting the trees is the primary way in which these guardians raise funds to support the orphans. So it's been an exciting, easy thing for us. There are lots of books. If you stop by the Kenya table, and you'll see some of the books that the children have been reading to learn about Kenya. There are wonderful books, partly because of the Green Belt movement. There's just wonderful material. So So it's an easy way to have a step in to an exciting mission for even a very small church. Thank you.
Peace be with you. Good morning. I'm Deb Adams, intern minister up in Hartwick, and this winter, January, February, I had the incredible privilege of traveling to Palestine, Israel, with an alternative pilgrimage that our global ministries, national office runs. Jeff and Janet Wright were our tour guides from the U.S., and they have been going for 11 years. Jeff was a non-believer in occupation of Palestine when he began. He now is one of the forerunners of letters going to the president and speaking to churches. His wife, Janet, has trained all of the Palestinian Y counselors who accompany children and youth and families through the gates, the checkpoints every day in EMDR, which is a desensitizing trauma technique for healing. Incredible trip. I have this dove that comes from the Palestinian community in the Christian community where they earn funds so that they may stay in Palestine. And their dream, as you heard yesterday, is that one of these will be in each church. I also have postcards because this postcard says it all. And it gives you resources on how to educate yourself about what needs to happen next in Palestine and Israel. So I'm going to give you a few anecdotes here until I hear somebody raise their hand. So Ibrahim was our Palestinian guide, and he would greet us every morning. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. And then he would say, Yahweh, Habibi. And it took us 4 days to get over our silence and see the great wall, apartheid wall surrounding Bethlehem, for us to dare to ask him what that meant. We weren't sure what he was saying to us. And he just smiled when we asked. And he said, I am calling you, my beloved dear ones, and to hurry up and come. And that's what we heard all the time we were there, hurry up. So the other person we met was Daoud, who now runs the Tent of Nations. And he and his family have had this land for 900 years. And they have all the registrations and deeds for the property, and have spent $150,000 in litigation caused by Israel, because Israel wants their land. It is the central land with 5 settlements surrounding. The rock that enters that property says, we refuse to be enemies. We refuse to be enemies. In English, Hebrew, and Arabic. And they have started a peace camp, international peace camp, because they will stay on their property. And they will teach their children dignity and self-preservation in light of all of this. So the debrief that night, every night we would debrief because it's not easy to be in Palestine and to hear what's really going on when the world news is not reporting accurately what is going on in Israel and Palestine. And so the closing is one man, a construction company owner, retired, who was part of our group, wept during our debriefing. And he said, I don't understand this. Why doesn't the world know what's going on here? And I am horrified that my tax dollars are doing this in Palestine. And that was the summary of how we all felt when we left there, having met businessmen, peacekeepers, children, teachers in Palestine, all holding on for the day that there will be peace. So I urge you to continue to be well informed about what is happening in Palestine, Israel. This goes to the conference as a reminder that there's lots of unfinished business in the world, that our Palestinian Christian folk, the priest said to us, who oversees this project, go home and please tell people to not forget us. And so I leave you with that message this morning and urge you to consider rethinking our relation, the United States relationship to Israel and Palestine, and to know that your tax dollars are doing some abominable things in Palestine. And I know that you would want to know about that. Peace be with you. Shalom be with you. Salam be with you. Thank you.
Very much wanted to share this song. Thank you for allowing me.
Can you get closer to the mic?
This is a song by Steve Earle, and Mr. Earle sings this at the end of every show, hoping that one day he won't have to. I woke up this morning, none of the news was good. Death machines were rolling across the ground where Jesus stood. And the man on my TV told me it always been that way. There's nothing anyone could do or say. And I almost listened to him. I almost lost my mind, and I regained my senses again. Looked into my heart to find that I believe there'll come a day all the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. Maybe I'm only dreaming, maybe I am a fool, but I don't remember learning how to hate in Sunday school. Somewhere along the way I strayed, and I never looked back again. Oh, but I still find some comfort now and then. Then the storm comes rumbling in, and I can't lay me down, and the drums are drumming again. And I can't stand the sound, but I believe on one fine day the lion and the lamb will lie down in peace together in Jerusalem. There'll be no more barricades then. There'll be no more wire or walls, and we can wash all this blood from our hands and all the hatred from our souls. And I believe on that fine day all the children of Abraham will lay down their swords forever in Jerusalem. We lay down our
I first came to this country and was horrified to see people walking around, especially low-income people, with no teeth in their heads, and with huge gaps in their body. And when I grew up in England, that did not happen. So I determined that one day I was going to try and do a little something about it, and this little something happened this last year. We have an advocacy committee at Bethany Church, and so we started talking about dental access and what we could do. And I went to talk to the administrator of the hospital and said, we are really concerned about this issue and would like to do something. And he said, this is good timing. We at the hospital are trying to look at a long-term solution to get some funding for dental. And so, yeah, I would love to meet with a group of you to talk about options. So we got a group together in town of people from the hospital, from the local dentists, and from our advocacy committee at church and different advocates, and we sat down and talked and came up with two strands of ways to go forward. The problem in Randolph is we don't have a dental clinic. The nearest one is Plainfield, but our population cannot use that without paying a normal price. And so there was no way for people in our area to get that. So we decided to try and do two strands, to work with the hospital as much as we could on a long-term solution for getting a clinic and to help people long-term. But we decided to try and do something short-term, and that's what I want to tell you briefly about. Two of the 5 dentists in town have been down to Brattleboro and helped with their dental clinic. And so they said to us, maybe it's possible that we could do a dental clinic. And that's, a dental day where you provide free dental treatment for a certain number of people. So we decided we'd go ahead with that. So we got in touch with the United Way in Barrie, and a wonderful lady called Nancy Zorn, who is a member of one of the United Churches of Christ. And she was extremely supportive and said, yes, we will work with you on doing this. And so, thank you. And so we worked with them and we served 40 people in one day with 4 dentists, and we succeeded in doing several restorations, about 18 extractions, all for free. And so we felt it was well worth doing. And if you're in a similar situation as we are in Randolph, I encourage you to see if you can do similar things. We think this is only the start of a long process, but my time's up. Thank you.
I'm Christopher Ashley from the Norwich Church, and I can't tell you how grateful I am. Thank you. I felt like sometimes you're alone jumping off a cliff and then you look around and there's several hundred people jumping with you. Somehow that's comforting. And what I'd like to say today are several things. I know this isn't an easy thing that I came and asked you to do. You all asked yourselves on to do. One of the easiest ways to have this conversation, to start this conversation, is around gun safety, gun safety for children. There's a couple of statewide organizations that are sort of fledgling and trying to get started. One is Child Safe Vermont. They put out a brochure. They use information from the National Rifle Association in the brochure. We actually agree on safe storage of firearms. And so that's a place where if you're wondering how to start a conversation, you tend to be able to start it together. Basically, safe storage means you keep firearms and ammunition separate, keep it out of reach of children. Most police chiefs can get free gun laws on the street for the things that fight guns, for different guns that they have. Mary Brownlow, when she emailed me last night, suggested that I put together some information that we could have the conference send out, and more than that, that'd be wonderful. I'm also part of a group called Gun Safe Vermont, but you can Google both Child Safe and Gun Safe, led by a woman named Catherine, Brattleboro. We have materials that we use and things for training. We get, if you're interested, we would like to try to support anybody in the state to move this conversation forward. The second thing, and I think the justice piece, when we talk about gun safety, a lot of times the conversation immediately becomes polarized, especially in the political world. People that are houses in Vermont or in Washington get immediately characterized as attacked by that's rather than have this conversation started at all. That's why doctors and emergency rooms aren't supposed to ask about gun. So if you want to do something in terms of justice, however you feel about this, if someone stands up and says, let's have a conversation, you feel they need to be supported and respected. It doesn't bother me to have a conversation at all.
So far, I can't believe how great you all are. Terrific. And I'm Martha Perkins, and I'm from the Charlotte Congregational Church. And at our church, we're working on 3 peace and justice issues. One is Boy Scouts. And we have a troop. What made it brought it home is that we sponsor a Boy Scout troop. And that brought up a lot of, do we keep the Scouts in our church? Do we let them use it or not based on what the National Boy Scouts believe? And we have the whole church is talking about this. We have a group called Compassion and Social Issues, CASA advocates. And we talked about this in our group. We wrote a letter to the National Boy Scouts. And we know that our Boy Scout leader wrote a letter to the local paper, and he's against that too. So it's an awareness thing, huge in our church. And so we're working on that. And the other thing we're working on is, of course, gun-related violence. And we have someone in our church who is leading this. You always need somebody, don't you, to take the baton and go. And we have Sally Kirshner in our church is doing this. And we have a discussion after church one day, and we're approaching it from the public health point of view. And we wondered what not necessarily our bodies, but in Vermont, suicide takes most of the people by guns, and then also domestic violence. And so it's a healthy community without guns, sort of without the deaths related to guns is what we're working on. And we also have a wonderful migrant justice program, and what we do is we have a lot of migrant farm workers around where we live. And we have bilingual church services in our church with the Catholic Church. And then we read at this, I go to them and it's really wonderful. I don't speak, so we have to be Spanish, but we do have translators. And we do have members that are taking Spanish lessons, which is good. And so we get together at people's houses or at the church once a month for a church service. And then we call it the old-fashioned house church. And then we have been advocating in Montpelier for driver's licenses and rights of the farm workers that are in Vermont. Now, I also want to we've also studied the prophets this year. And I also want to tell you that I do play the role of the prophet right now. Because I think, and I would love to have this, all of us move to the regular agenda on the annual meeting program. Look at all of us, we take up 3/4 of the room. And this is one of the things that's so important. So if you want to put this in your evaluation, that would be terrific. Thanks very much. Get up and say I'm Debbie Ingram. I'm the Executive Director of Vermont Interfaith Action, and Betty asked us to talk about how our organizations work on justice. Well, VIA is all about justice. We don't do any charitable work. We're not at all about direct service delivery. We use a community organizing technique that goes back to the civil rights movement and the work of Martin Luther King to organize and mobilize people at the member congregations of VIA, help them to choose an issue from the grassroots level and then go through a process of research and then having public action events to put pressure on decision makers to try to create systemic change. We have 12 congregations, 7 in Burlington and 5 in the Barry Montpelier area at the moment, but we're definitely looking to expand to be statewide, and I'd be very happy to talk to you about trying to set up something in a different geographic region. We've been trying to expand to places like Bennington and Brattleboro and Rutland and Northeast Kingdom and Middlebury, and I've been having conversations with lots of people, so I'd love to talk with you about that. I'm going to just highlight 2 things that we do. We work on a variety of different issues because each congregation gets to choose the issue that it wants to work on. We continue to work on healthcare and housing and transportation. But 2 things we're doing now. One is a very exciting education initiative that VIA is partnering with the Burlington and Winooski high schools. They received a very large grant from a foundation called the Nellie Mae Foundation. It's a multi-year, multi-million-dollar grant to try to make the high schools more responsive to the needs of parents and students, especially the refugee populations in Burlington and Winooski. So we organize with Burundians, Somali Bantu, Bhutanese, Nepali, and Vietnamese individuals in Burlington and Winooski to try to help them to understand the school systems better and to engage more, to ask for things for their children, ways that their needs can be better met. We had a very exciting public action event last November, which was very successful, and we're partnering with the schools to do a lot of changes. And I'm very proud to say that this Nellie Mae grant funds 4 different sites, and we have been chosen, VIA has been chosen as the first site for all those sites to visit because we've done such good work. And one other thing, just piggyback on what Martha said, which about the migrant justice work that they're doing in Charlotte. Martha's pastor, Will Burhans, just went down to Washington, D.C. because VIA also is working on immigration reform, and Will went with an Episcopal priest from Barry to Washington, met with Senator Leahy's staff, and he met as part of a group of national clergy, and we're very proud that the immigration reform got through the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's got a long way to go yet, but it's making progress. So, thanks very much.
Tracy Weatherhoff from Grace Church in Rutland, here to talk to you about 2 things. Dining for Hunger. Therese asked me to share about this program at Grace Church, which we stole from somebody's mother's church in Connecticut, I think. And it was originally called Dining for Women, which is actually a national program, I believe. The basic idea is that people are encouraged to invite people over for dinner in their homes. And everybody brings something, it's a potluck, and then are asked to make an offering, a contribution to what they might have paid had they gone out for dinner. And then that offering is given to a designated group. And we have done a variety of things. We've done a local community cover, done things related to hunger. More recently, we have committed most of those offerings to our partnership with HEAL, which is working in Kenya, went to help us with our mission trip that we went on last year. But there are a variety of ways that you can do it. And it's a wonderful thing because obviously you're getting together to help others, but it creates small group fellowship opportunities for your congregation to get to know each other better. And so it's very easy to do. I'd encourage you, if you want, if you're interested in that, email me and I can email you what we write up and put in our newsletter, and so you can adapt it however you do it, but you have something to start with as well. The other part that I was going to share with you is about our Southwest Association Food for Faith events that never remember the name of our committee, Spirituality and Nurture, or something like that. Spiritual Development and Nurture Committee of our Southwest Association has encouraged within the Southwest Association, and we chose a north and a central and a southern facilitator and leader, or a place for people to meet, where we just invited people to come, to go to a restaurant, to either just enjoy appetizers, a drink, or to stay and have a meal together, and then have conversation around different topics. In the fall, we did our faith and elections. How does our faith inform the election? So we did that in October leading up to November. And then more recently, in February, I believe it was, we started to talk about these changing times. How do we deal with what's going on in the life of the church? And then we followed that up with related to Christianity after religion and the Diane Butler Bass, or I think we did it before that time. Just thinking, getting people to think, what's next and how do we do that? The Bennington group has said they love this. What do we want them to do next? And we said, you don't have to ask us. You can just keep doing it. And so it's been wonderful. And people from beyond the Southwest Association have come as well. So again, easy, no cost, gathering of people around food, again, but a conversation around a variety of topics. Thank you.
Peace be with you. So I'm Chris Hines, and I'm the immediate past moderator of the Southwest Association. So I bring you greetings in Christ from the Southwest Association. And I believe this is not my first time sharing about this event. We, in our bylaws, we determined that we need to get together 3 times a year as an association. And we decided that one of those times we would get together and celebrate and do mission together. So each March we have a Southwest Association Mission Day. And it has turned out to be the most popular event in our association year. This year was the 3rd such event. And what we normally do is we get together in the morning and we actually do mission work. This year we had folks that were making knitting hats for the Seafarers Ministry. We had another group in the kitchen who were making meals which were frozen and then delivered to food shelves around the area. We had a group that were making dresses for t-shirts for girls that live in orphanage being established in Rehema, Kenya, which I'll speak a little bit more about in a moment. And we also had a group of people who went off and helped a local church paint their fellowship hall. So these are folks from all the various different churches in the association getting together and actually doing mission for the morning. Then during lunch and after lunch, we have an afternoon that's very much inspired by what goes on here at the Peacemaker's Breakfast. We share things that we have done through and at our various churches through the year. And this year we had Deb come down and speak about Vermont Interfaith Action. And we had a report from HEAL, Raising the World One Child at a Time, which is an orphanage and a school for boys and girls in Kenya that Jennifer Wright of the Grace Church has established there. I won this t-shirt to highlight that. We also heard a report from a group of people from the Dorset Church who went out to visit the Lakota Native Indians in Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and did lots of great work there. And in addition, a mission trip to rural Maine that Grace Church took. The one final moment I want to take is to say that, yes, it's great that we got together for these days, but the ripple effect goes on and on. As a direct result of our first mission day at the Southwest Association, where we went out and actually worked at a Habitat for Humanity house, there is now a group of people from that day who are trying to reestablish a Habitat affiliate in Rutland, the only county in Vermont without an affiliate. So things do happen as a result of these events. Peace be with you.
Can everybody hear me? Good morning. It is an honor to be here. It is because of you and others like you in Vermont who have followed their passion into action that I have been inspired to seek my Peacemakers project. Here's the short form, if I run out of time. One paragraph. The two guiding stars of my life thus far have been music, the necessary breath of the soul, and a great hunger to find God. The two have apparently, by the grace of God and the help of many good people, come together in the music program now happening most Tuesdays at the Springfield Correctional Center in Springfield, Vermont. This is not the first time I've been blessed, and that's in caps, to work with prison inmates in Vermont. I thank Rita McCaffrey for getting me involved 20 years ago and in Rutland, where I ended up, to my surprise, teaching chorus for 2 years. There was lots of interest. Later, in the 90s, I responded to a request at Windsor Correctional Center and taught cello and violin to two guys there who desperately wanted to learn. However, it became a women's prison, and it didn't happen that my offer to start another program there didn't happen at that time. Several years went by, I thought maybe my prison work is over. But then I came here 2 years ago. I was so uplifted by what I heard here. I joined the Prison Justice Committee, and then one day Jean Zamatero sent me an email from the coordinator of volunteer activities at Springfield that we're looking for a guitar teacher. I am qualified to teach all band and orchestra instruments, but guitar, I picked that up on my own. I've noticed there's a lot of interest in guitar, but I haven't performed training in it. So wouldn't you know, that's what I got asked to teach. But God still works in mysterious ways. The co-teacher there is full-time English literacy staff for this fully accredited Vermont high school diploma program, and he's a guitar player. So we've been every Tuesday morning for 6 or 8 months. First hour, advanced guitar players, a very strong-minded bunch who have gradually come together to work together on music literacy, and the second hour being beginner guitar, always a little more tentative and listen better. And the third hour is beginner piano. I must say, my heart is broken every time I go there, and it's filled every time I leave. Because, I had to write this, I couldn't remember it, the walls that contain these, my brothers, simply fall away as we explore together the great vast world of music. Thank you. I'm going to slip Gail in here, but I also, does anybody see my red Guatemalan bag that I brought all my stuff in? Here. Don't worry about it,
Right here? Is this it? Down here? Down here? No.
Is that right?
That was mine.
No.
Hi, my name is Gail Compton, and I'm from First Church Burlington. One of the joys of parenting children that come from abusive households is all the new people you meet. Policemen, parole officers, stuff like that. One of my kids just almost daily and said there is nothing to read here. They need young adult books and like Tom Clancy elections. They just need books. And shocked that it was. He said, and there's no church. And he was in Newark, and then he moved to the work camp. Yeah. He said, there's no church. There's no support like that, which is really surprising to me. Somebody's taking care of that, and nobody's taking care of that. So I'm wondering if somebody. Yeah, I know it's not completely.
Try working with her, and they claim that they don't have any space. I spent several hours talking.
Well, if somebody, I actually talked to somebody when I was up there visiting, and I said, if I brought a box of books and you just put it out, could people get it? And he said, yeah, nobody's gonna stop you from bringing that. As long as we don't insist that it goes into a library or something like that, because they're all gonna swap it back and forth. So all those paperbacks that you don't want, and the ones especially you're buying this summer that you know you will never read again. Why not send them to the person? Thank you very much.
So this is an appropriate segue. The folks from the Heartland Restorative Justice Center reached up north of White River a year ago looking to see if there were some folks who would want to form a COSA, which is a Circle of Support and Accountability for inmates soon to be released and maybe only to be released from prison with this kind of a circle of support around them. I have found that this has been the single largest challenge to my faith in all of my 57 years, in that the person around whom we have developed a support team in Bradford is a sex offender who, of course, doesn't really see that he's done any damage, and it was his daughter who he sexually assaulted for 6 years. And so as a mother and a woman, I'm like angry all the time because how could this man not realize what damage he has done to his daughter for the rest of her life? But we have been meeting with this gentleman since last September. He's gotten a job. He has lived for 6 months at the Bradford Motel, which, if any of you know that area of Vermont, it is known as a home for sex offenders released into the community, which is a very kind of curious thing that it just sits right there in Bradford with basically nothing going on around it except for this one gentleman around whom we have this circle. So our commitment is to meet with him for a year. He recently got married, went to work in the morning, got married at 6 o'clock that night by a justice of the peace in our town, and he hadn't told us, which the whole circle was in shock because this is a significant event about which he might have said something, but he didn't see that it was such a big deal. This was after he'd been dating a 21-year-old, he's 47, a 21-year-old now the age of his daughter, but the woman he married is 65. So there's all of this odd kinds of, in my mind, no consistency in terms of understanding, moral understanding of his life, and yet, by the command of Christ, we're called to kind of stand with folks who are damaged, and I think this man is severely damaged and could damage again. Major challenge if you ever have an opportunity to work in a circle of support and accountability. Wonderful challenge for personal as well as community support.
I too have just joined a COSA in Rutland prohibits sex offenders from living in like 95% of Rutland. The gentleman lives in a tiny room that he's paying $650 a month. And this man has been consumed with how is he going to pay his rent. And he has worked really hard to get
Anybody who's tried it knows. Play the guitar. The scriptures are more honest. We're troublemakers. I have to stand outside my body myself in order to reflect on my daily sin. I just offended two guys yesterday. I'm looking for them. I got to apologize to them. It goes on every day. Now you multiply that and you get a war. So you got to go to church, you got to pray, you got to stand outside your body, you know, to make sure what's happening within you is not causing more trouble than you're aware of. Then we have to engage the powers who take advantage of our crap. Because, what are we talking about? People who are offended and are in prison. A guy who obviously messes up some little kid. Yeah, one of my friends is one of those people, and you know what they said to him? He said, please, please, give me therapy now in prison. They said, well, by regulations, you don't get therapy until 6 months before you leave. Oh yeah, bull. There's no money because Lockheed Martin has it wrapped up, kids. We have to go after the big guys too. Lockheed is buying more war so they can buy and sell more products, so they can mess up more kids in the Belgian Congo, crawling through mines and shaft holes, looking for minerals that are needed for those warheads. They keep the wars going, keep the profits going, and we have to stand up to it. It starts with a peace in one's heart, but it becomes Mr. Lockheed, Mr. Martin, I'm standing up to you. On your table are a couple of things. One is the wonderful to-do list you can take back to your churches to rev up your work for peace. The Just Peace Advocates have put that together, a bunch of beautiful people, one of them Betty Hinson's here. And if you really seriously consider that and get your best minds working at it, it's going to go. On the other side, on the other sheet, rather, is a paper that's a petition to stop the drone killing. Take it home to your church, sign it, send it into Andy Shirky, who's not here today. On the other side of that one are facts about the F-35. Contact them. Roger Barassa in Burlington is fighting for you, trying to stop the F-35, a ridiculous machine to rip. So I can stop with one little quip that is perhaps humorous. The Empire, eventually, like Constantine, tries to draw us in when things are looking like they might work better for the Empire. So now we are really welcoming gay, lesbians, and so on. But a long time ago, Louise and I became interested in square dancing. And Karen said I shouldn't talk about this, but I will. Anyway, we wanted to get into square dancing. And we didn't know anything about Western style square dancing. And this is what I want you to do in terms of drones and F-35 and Lockheed Martin, locking the war profiteers and all the rest. Use your imagination as to how to do it. We walked into a place in Harper's Ferry, West Virginia, and there was this beautiful, huge place, probably as big as this whole cafeteria, with people dancing, square dancing, and it was beautiful. I mean, my gosh, you would think New York choreography had something to do with it. Guess what? It was a gay convention. Then comes the troublemaker, which is typified by this guy who's in a church way down south in Buckingham, Massachusetts.
way down south in
You'll see this
Massachusetts.
in, you'll see this in this issue of, still speaking. Look it up. We came up and joined the square dance group. And they introduced us to the fact that what we do is dance by position, which means Betty's on my right, we're a couple, and then as the caller progresses, I'm on Betty's right, and we're a couple. And we're going through all these moves, so it's called dance by position. Oh, I'm a troublemaker. I told our beautiful people in our square dance group in Washington how we have been introduced to square dance.
Good morning. I'm Judy Joy, and I was one of the folks on the task force for Vermont. And as you probably know, you've probably heard a lot about it. Vermont is a project of the National UCC to highlight Earth Care during the 50 days of Easter. And it's focused on 3 goals: power down, green up, and shout out. And we've had an amazing numbers of people doing that. And so way back in January, I think, the Department of Missions appointed a task force. The chair was Fred Taylor from Dummerston, Andy Notch Benson, who's the pastor of the UCC Church in Middlebury, and myself from Bethany UCC in Montpelier. We were really blessed to be able to meet with Jim Deming, who's the Environmental Justice Coordinator for the National UCC. And we wanted to develop a strategy for supporting and inspiring Vermont congregations to become active. And Jim said that the UCC in Cleveland really looks to Vermont as to be a leader in the environmental movement. So we're like, that's really a lot. But he encouraged us to build on the many strengths and unique qualities of Vermont culture and congregations and to develop our own homegrown projects. So we started out with a retreat in Randolph, at the church in Randolph on March 7th. And we have about 30 people, clergy and lay leaders. And we came together to explore the perspectives on stewardship and its faith-based importance, and create a network of support and inspiration. It was an amazing day. We had a worship, we had a keynote presentation, we had a panel of church leaders talking about their environmental work and knowledge, and we had a brainstorming session to share what congregations have already been doing, and amazingly enough, congregations were already doing a lot of environmental work. And we had clips of films to inspire discussion. And then toward the end, on May 9th, we had another retreat. About 25 people attended, some from other denominations. And Jim Deming facilitated an exciting discussion. We shared experiences from 4-1 Earth, what worked in our communities, and we reflected on the moral call to action on climate change and other environmental issues. How can our faith and theology continue to inform our activism and advocacy? And we want to develop this project into a movement, so we want to keep the discussion going. And that's it for 4-1 Earth, but I have a responsive reading to share with you, and it's on the purple paper. And I'll tell a really quick story about this. Years ago, I was involved in a ritual to heal the river, and someone gave me a copy of it on the Pulse of Morning, and I thought it was wonderful, and it did not give an author to it.
there was some problems with that copy that I got. So I messed around with it, and I tried it up, and I took some stuff out, put it back in. And then I was talking to Fred Taylor on the phone, and he said, I recognize that. That's Maya Angelou. And I was like, I'm messing around with Maya Angelou, right? So basically, I kind of put it back together and just divided it up so we can read this responsively. So please join me in reading on the pulse of the morning. The river sings a beautiful song. Come rest here by my side. Each of you a bordered country, delicate and strangely made, proud yet thrusting, perpetually under siege. Armed struggles for profit have left power's waste upon my shores and currents of debris upon my breast. Yet today I call you to my riverside, if you will study war no more.
Come, glad in peace, and I, the river, sing you songs the Creator gave to me, when I and the tree and the rock were one. Before cynicism was a bloody scar across your brow, and when you yet knew you still knew nothing. The river sings on and on. There is a true yearning to respond to the singing river, the sheltering tree, and the wise rock.
Come in peace, so say everyone. The Asian, the Hispanic, the Jew, the African, the Native American, the Catholic, the Muslim, the French, the Greek, the Protestant, the Irish, the Sikh, the gay, the straight, the preacher, the privileged, the homeless, the musician, and the teacher. They all hear the speaking of the tree. Today, the first and last of every tree speaks to humankind of peace.
Come to me here beside the river, each of you root yourselves in peace beside me. I am that tree, planted by the river, which will not be moved. I, the rock, I, the river, and I, the tree. I am yours. Your passages to the future have been made. Lift up your faces. You have a piercing need for this bright, peace-filled morning. This morning is dawning for you.
History, despite its wrench and pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Lift up your eyes upon the day breaking for you, and give birth again to the dream of peace. Women, children, men, take this day into the palms of your hands, mold it into the shape of your most private need, sculpt it into the image of your most humble self.
Lift up your hearts. Each new hour holds new chances for peace, for new beginnings. Do not be wedded to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change, of peace. Here on the pulse of this fine day, may you have the courage to look up and out and upon us, the rock, the river, and the tree. Here on the pulse of this new day, may you have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eyes, into your brother's face, upon your world, and say simply, very simply, with hope and peace. Good morning.
It's lovely. Kudos to the Maya Angelou. So now we'll make our big circle, and Susanna Griffin is going to start our singing. Welcome back.